Indian Constitution plays a very important role in understanding how India is formed, how Indian Constitution ensures free and fair treatment among all. Whereas there are many books available, but why Indian polity? Because all the concept has been described here in a simplest manner possible, and it is written only with crisp point, which you need to remember in order to understand the very concept. So, diving into that book, today we are going to understand Article 17 of the Indian Constitution, will falls under Chapter 7 of Indian Polity, that is fundamental rights. So, in this video, we are going to understand what Article 17 talks about and what Indian Polity has described regarding what is untouchability. So, let's get started. So before understanding any concept, it is the very necessity to understand the very key word or very term of the statement. If we don't understand the very term or just read or just try to memorize all the other stuff, then it would be give us no benefit because we will sometimes gonna forget that anyway. So before understanding into the very concept, we need to understand the very meaning, 4 points of the thing. Meaning of untouchability. As Article 17 talks about untouchability, so first we will understand what untouchability, the very word, defines. The Constitution and the Act do not define the term untouchability. So when now we are talking about Indian Constitution, so the word untouchability is nowhere mentioned or defined in the Indian Constitution. It directly says that Article 17 talks about untouchability. However, the Mysore High Court clarified that the term refers to a caste-based discrimination as it evolved historically. But Mysore High Court, through a case, through a precedent, has declared that the word would be looked upon how it has been used in historically manner. It does not refer to the literal or grammatical sense, but to the social practices targeting certain caste. So when it talks about untouchability, it will not fall under grammatical or literal sense, but it will be looked upon how in the ancient era untouchability was looked upon. So this is the very meaning of untouchability that is given in the Indian polity. And now from this very paragraph we will extract what are the key words that we need to remember in order to understand the very term. No official definition in constitution or act. As I say, you will not get the proper definition if you look under Indian constitution or any act. It is nowhere defined. Mysore High Court refers to historical caste-based discrimination. So if it's not defined, then how we will understand what untouchability is if we need to understand it through the constitutional way. So Mysore High Court, through a leading case, give this judgment that refers to historical caste-based discrimination. So if we talk about untouchability, and if you need to understand what is untouchability, we need to refer it is historical caste-based discrimination that will only define what untouchability is. Applies to social disabilities due to caste, breed, or whom this is applied. This is applies to social disabilities due to caste, birth, to people who are born into inferior caste and the superior caste feels that they are inferior to them. It will be applicable only to that particular area of people. Now let's move into what is Article 17. Article 17 of the Indian Constitution abolishes untouchability and forbids its practice in any form. So in our previous slide, we understood what is untouchability and what Article 17 says. Article 17 prohibits the practice of untouchability in any form. We cannot discriminate anyone on the basis of their caste. It declares that any enforcement of untouchability will be treated as a punishable offense under the law. It is highly punishable under the law. If you do such crime, you are punishable under the law. This provision ensures social equality and aims to eliminate caste-based discrimination. So this is the very aim of Article 17, that is to eliminate caste-based discrimination. Now we will understand the key points. Abolishes untouchability in any form. So what is the duty of Article 17? To abolish or to eliminate any kind of untouchability or practice in any form. Forbids its practice and enforcement. As it says, the practice of untouchability is forbidden and is punishable under the law. Violations are punishable by law. So if you violate this, you will be punishable under the law. Now let's move into the legal measures. To implement Article 17, the Untouchability Offences Act was passed in 1955. So now we will understand what is the historical background of untouchability or Article 77. As I said, in order to understand anything, we need to first understand the very term, then we need to go to the historical background, how it has formed and how with time it grown. So for the first time in the year of 1955, Untouchability Act was passed to eliminate this kind of exercises in society. In 1976, this act was amended and renamed as the Protection of Civil Rights Act 1955. But in the year of 1955, the very first act was amended and it has given a new name, that is Civil Rights Act. This amendment made the law stricter and expanded the scope of punishable acts under untouchability. So, what are the changes this act made? This act or the amendment made the law even more stricter and even expanded the very scope. Now we will understand the key points. Untouchability Offences Act 1955 was passed, so it is the historical background of untouchability. Renamed in 1976 as Protection of Civil Rights Act. Now we don't refer to as Untouchability Act because it has renamed as Protection of Civil Rights Act in the year of 1976. Threatened penalties and broaden the scope. So it is the very aim of this. Now let's move into the what are civil rights. The Act defines civil rights as any rights given to a person because of the abolition of untouchability by Article 17. So the civil rights the definition is mentioned under this Act, which says that any rights given to a person because of the abolition of untouchability by Article 17. So the right has been defined in this very Act itself. These rights protect individuals from discrimination and ensure equal treatment in public places and services. So, what is aim? It's aim to protect individuals from discrimination and ensure equal treatment in public places and services. For example, if two person is going to a park and if a person from a superior caste is sitting in the park and uh, he says to the other person that you cannot sit here. So this kind of treatment in order to eliminate this act was passed. Key points: rights linked to the abolition of untouchability. So it is linked to untouchability, ensures dignity and equality in public life. So what is the aim? To ensure dignity and equality in public life. Aim to remove caste-based restriction. So it is very aim is to remove all kind of restriction that is imposed upon individuals from a superior caste. Now let's move into what it does not cover. Article 17 does not apply to individual acts of exclusion such as personal boycotts or denial of religious participation for reasons unrelated to caste. Now we will understand this through a simple example. For example, if A marries B, okay, they both belong to the same caste, but A's family is not happy with this marriage and they boycott him. So this kind of example will not fall under the discrimination. A cannot sue against his own family by saying that they are discriminating us on such ground because this kind of personal interest will not be covering under such kind of act. So it will be only applicable to person on that is that is real caste based discrimination. Other than that, to individuals own interest, this will not be applicable. It focuses only on practices rooted in caste-based discrimination. As its Mysore Court says that if we need to look upon what is untouchability, we need to look back how historically it expanded or evolved. We cannot use it for our own benefit or such kind of situation because it is not applicable. Now let us understand. Doesn't cover social boycotts or individual. As I said, if the society boycotts that person on such ground. For example, if a person stole something from the village and he has been, said to not enter the village on such ground, also we cannot ask that if he is being treated unfairly because there is a valid reason and his ground is not relatable to the caste-based discrimination. These are a very simple example that I'm trying to give in order to make this concept more clear. Exclusion from religious events, non-caste base. So non-caste base is, not applicable here. Only applies to caste based untouchability. So it is only based when there is a actual ground on non-caste untouchability. Now let us move into what is the role of the state here. The Supreme Court has ruled that Article 17 is enforceable against private individuals as well. This means even if a private person discriminates, it is illegal. So as I said, no one can practice this in the society, and it is enforceable by law that that person should be punished. The state has a duty to ensure that the right is protected and to take again action against those violating it. So the very role of the state is to look upon how the society is doing its work, if there is any person's rights getting violated, if anyone practices this form. So it is the duty of the role, or it is the duty of the state to ensure there is no such happenings it is happening in the society. Now understand the key point. Right under Article 70 is enforceable against individuals. So this is the very key point that we have extracted from this paragraph. Supreme Court state must take action. The Supreme Court in his judgment said the state must take action if he found such kind of practice ongoing in the society. Strong legal protection for victims of untouchability. So its aim is to strong legal protection for victims of untouchability. The people who are being victim of this practice, in order to protect their rights. This is the very aim of or this is the very role of the state to ensure that there are no such practices ongoing or happening. Now let us summarize what we have understood till now regarding untouchability or regarding Article 17 of Indian Constitution. Article 17 is a powerful tool to promote equality in Indian society. So in order to maintain equality in the society, it is very much necessary to bring all the people together despite their caste, despite their title. So if we bring all the people together, then there's possibility then we can get along the development. It makes untouchability a punishable offense and protects the civil rights of those who were historically discriminated against. So what is the very aim of Article 17? To eliminate such kind of practices that has been historically has its proof to be happening in the society. The law, along with judicial support, helps eliminate caste-based inequality. So when there is a punishment for something, so there's possibility that people will not do that in society. What are the key points? Ensure no one can be treated as an untouchable. So this is the very aim. Provides legal protection and punishment. Anyone who is violating this right is punishable under the law. Promotes dignity and equality. So Article 17 promotes dignity and equality for every person in the society. Enforced by law and courts, and it is enforceable by law. If you violate it, you are punishable. So these are the very conclusion or summary that we understood or got in Article 17. So this is all about what Article 17 is, what is the very meaning of untouchability. So if you want such more legal insight, to write in the comment section so that I can cover such more legal updates. And also if you found this video worth watching, please do share, like and subscribe. We'll be meeting soon with another video. Thank you for watching the video.